Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Bienvenidos.
It's good to be here with you too. And also with you.
I thought I'd start out with a little trivia.
Trivia?
Star Wars trivia.
Oh.
All right. So, a variation of what line has made it into almost every film? And I picked this one because
It's a variation now.
the variation made it in this episode.
Right, but it was
Nice.
It was a variation. It was definitely a variation, not a direct. Because it used to just be the direct line every time.
So you think you know what it is?
I think so. Do I like buzz in or like?
Like Family
I
Feud.
know. I'm not sure what.
Anybody else any guess? I know you probably don't know because you're
No,
not the Star Wars
I
person.
already hung my hat up when you said trivia. I was like, I'm probably not gonna be able to.
Do you want to take a guess before Lucas confidently gives an answer?
Maybe I shouldn't be so confident. Jared doesn't know what it is.
And it was in this episode,
Well, it was in this episode,
and
but
every
then
movie,
also in a variation of it in every film.
original trilogy, prequels, and
Oh,
sequels.
100% the original.
In the saga. Saga.
Saga.
Saga.
Okay, so all 9.
Every day.
Sorry.
Is it? The only thing I can think of is I got a bad feeling about this.
There
Ding,
it
ding,
is.
ding.
I was gonna
Okay.
say.
Oh.
All right, it just dawned on me. Yeah, I remember. Okay,
Yep.
Yeah, because in the episode he says, "I've got a bad feeling."
Yeah. The kid.
and just
He
stops
goes,
there.
"Mom, I think I have a
Yeah.
bad feeling."
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I was sweating. I'm like, man, if I get this wrong, get roasted on YouTube. Like, you're not a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, fake.
All right. So welcome back to Screen Time. I'm your host, Josh Youngbar, and with me I have Lucas, Claudia, and Jered Youngbar.
Yo.
On today's episode, we're going to cover Ahsoka Season 1, Episode 4. But before we do that, we're going to discuss a few things we might be watching lately in the last week or so that we want to shout out.
Yeah. No, I've got my anime corner once again. I watched the live action One Piece.
Dude, that's my mind too.
yeah,
I was going to
yeah,
mention
It did
it.
come
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I heard it was good.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It definitely is good. They did a really good job at capturing. I'm not sure exactly but it's definitely like the first like main story arc. It's like the entire crew getting together, and then like the first like real like boss level fight per se. And Luffy gets his first bounty on his head, and he's super excited about that. And I just wanted to like throw in like they did a really good job at the parts that they cut out. They used the same essence of what the anime was trying to portray and like moved it around, and it didn't feel like they were really like pulling from the story at all, because they definitely made it shorter because the anime is stupid long. And the only other is like the goofiness of anime is in this live action, but it doesn't feel
definitely.
wrong. Like it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like you're not like, oh, this is annoying. Like it was there, but it wasn't too much.
It's
And it wasn't,
goofy and campy.
Yep.
Did
No.
you watch it?
Yeah, not much of it. You probably watched more
yeah,
than me.
I finished
But
it.
yeah, that was one of the things I was going to mention. Yeah, is that I watched it and I was wondering, how much you saw of.
Think I would
The
like it?
original.
Should I watch it?
Yeah, you should. You definitely should. It was good. I got a few like moments where I got chills because I was like, this is like the anime enough that I'm like, this is good. I would recommend to anyone who would want to watch it without watching the entirety of One Piece, because One Piece is 1,000 plus.
It's so
episodes.
long. Yeah, how
I
much?
haven't even finished it.
Okay, I was wondering how much you've seen of the anime.
I made it to the Doflamingo arc, which is 700 or so episodes.
Oh my god,
in
700.
but I skipped all the filler. So, well, all the filler once you get into the post time skip.
Wow.
Whatever
Okay.
that means.
It's like
Right.
it's like at some point they all go and do some training, and they don't like show all the training. It's just like it's when they change the animation style and everything too, and it's like 3-year time skip or something like that, and like everyone looks different, and
Gotcha.
yeah.
Dude, I was so nervous for this though, because it's like any anime adaptation into live action.
Horrible.
It's
Right.
not done it right.
I
Yeah,
was so surprised watching this.
I'm not familiar with enough, but like you always hear all the backlash, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it sucks," and then of course they don't do another season.
And I'm sure there's plenty of One Piece fans who are like, "This is terrible," but I'd say they did a good job.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I'm looking
for-
forward to the next season.
Yeah, have they already said they're doing another season?
I
feel like they should. They will,
definitely.
since
I think
it
they
has
definitely
been.
will, though.
Yeah, I was wondering about how this would go, but just not seeing any. I've never seen any of One Piece.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, this is sick. I'm hoping the actual anime people will like this because
Yeah, I mean, I did, but
yeah,
I'm
there you
not
go.
like a diehard One Piece fan, so
It is one. I feel like it is like one of the biggest though right now,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
because they're still going, which is insane.
All right, what else we?
sorry. Real quick. Also on that is the fight scenes
Mm-hmm.
are still very anime,
They are very anime,
but
feeling,
it's
yep.
live action.
But
I'm
it's
like,
live
they
action,
did
but they
awesome
didn't-
with the fight scenes.
But it doesn't feel bad. Like you don't
No,
like it
it
doesn't
doesn't
feel
look-
weird or anything.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta watch it. I gotta see.
Yeah,
gotta
no, it's
check
good.
it out.
Yeah. It's sick.
All right.
So
what you guys
I'm
been
gonna
watching?
while Jared's looking at something, checking
Yeah.
his up. I'm just gonna give a plug for Foundation season 2 on Apple TV Plus. Like,
Yeah.
have you been caught up a little more?
No, you're probably
No.
still way ahead.
We're caught up. So there's only 2 episodes
dude.
less in season 2. Like,
You're all the way caught up?
yeah.
Oh, dang. Okay.
And I mean, the first season was good, but there was so much setup in the first season because it's like it's so deep, hard sci-fi. But the second
Yeah.
season is just it's been really good because they've allowed to like kind of sing, like kind of just sit a little bit more with the story now, and yeah, it's good.
Is it still in technically the first book, or do you know how far? 'Cause I know this was
I don't know.
okay, because this is a big time jump.
it
for
is
season 2, so
Yeah,
I was wondering how.
100 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's in the, and then just, I know we've talked about this, but the production, special effects, visuals,
Some of the best. Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Like,
I know.
it's better than like half the movies out there.
Yeah.
And it's a TV show.
I
So,
saw behind the scenes that they were, kind of like what they do in Star Wars. They were painting ship models. So I'm wondering how much of that is actually that instead of,
yeah,
all
they,
visual
again, they
effects.
do a lot of practical stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and even using practical locations because, believe it or not, it's cheaper to take everybody and go somewhere and film something than it is to try to create everything in like
That's crazy.
the volume or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that. Yeah. So
Yeah, they went like all over. Even for the first season, they went to a lot of locations. So I can't even imagine how many they went to for this season.
what else you got, Claudia?
I'm watching The Tudors right now.
The Tudors.
Oh,
I've heard
yeah.
of that. I've never-
I love like medieval
Yeah.
time pieces like that.
Yeah.
And so far, it's very good. I'm excited to see the story develop because I have a feeling it's just going to get better in the
I
next
thought you already
couple of
saw it
seasons.
before.
No, I've
Oh,
never
really?
watched
Okay.
it through. No. And I had no clue Henry Cavill was in it. So that was like my main, I was like, I got like
No, he was in it.
early Henry Cavill,
Okay.
like young Henry Cavill is in this.
You'd watch him do anything.
I would.
Literally anything.
Yes. This show could be about him just sitting in a chair
If
doing nothing, and I'd
if
be
he
like,
tw-
this is really
if
good.
you
You
streamed
would.
on Twitch him playing video games, you'd watch it.
100%.
Oh, yeah,
I would,
she would.
Yes, I'd be contributing. Be a contributor. Yeah. No, it's really good so far. The story is kind of developing, and you're kind of in the thick of. I haven't finished the first season. I think I have like 1 or 2 episodes less in the first season. I'm really interested to see how this goes.
This made me think of, did you ever watch The Great?
No, I don't think so.
With
Oh, yeah. Your boy's in that too.
yeah, like you
Nicholas Holt.
Nicholas Holt is like the
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah,
if
you like him.
you've never watched that?
Okay. So I think I saw, like, I started it and then I got busy doing something else and completely forgot about it. But yes, that is on my list of things to watch
You should-
because
if you like I mean, it's not quite it's a little post medieval, but still like
yeah,
it's
it still is
it's
up
still
my
good,
alley.
and in that like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
I
like,
love a period
hilarious.
piece, and especially around that time period, it's like some of my favorite things to watch.
Who are the other big actors in The Tudors? Anyone else you recognize?
There aren't really, besides the main character, I can't remember what his name is.
I'll look
But
I was just wondering. If
I
there's anyone
imagine
else,
a
like,
lot
big
of
in it.
them are like English, British actors that are big that we just don't really recognize them as big actors because we don't see them
Right.
as much.
Right.
Kind of like Game of Thrones, how there's a lot
Yeah.
of big like.
Was there any Game of Thrones people in this? I feel like they're like it's like every
Not
British actor.
so far.
Really? Okay.
Not so far.
What's
but
not-
I'm very early
What was
in.
it? It wasn't HBO. It was on something else, was it? Or was it HBO? What's
I
the Tudors
thought
on?
the Tudors was HBO.
Maybe it is.
I'm looking now.
No, I think it was Showtime. I think it's Showtime.
Showtime, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Jonathan
Can't have
Rhys
that-
Myers.
Can't have that crossover.
Yeah, that's what it is. Jonathan Rhys Myers is the main King Henry VIII.
Yes.
So that's him.
Yeah. And from what we know about King Henry VIII, he's doing a really good job portraying him.
Oh, Natalie Dormer.
Oh,
Oh,
There you
that's
go.
right. I'm sorry.
So there's
I
a Game of
completely forgot.
Thrones.
Yes, she is, and she is just insufferable in this show. I don't like her at all.
cool.
But yeah, she's the only one from Game of Thrones that I recognize in
Okay.
this. In this
2007 to 2010.
the actor from Jurassic Park, he's in it also. He's another
Sam
big
Neill?
name. Yes,
Nice.
he's a pope, one of the popes in the show.
Okay.
Tudors.
He's a little.
What does it imply with Tudors? Like, what is?
So it's kind of telling the story of King Henry of the Eighth, but like the untold things about
Lots of
King
sex.
lots of drama, politics. There's the main thing right now is that him and the Queen are. He wants to divorce his Queen to be with Natalie Dormer's character, but he has to get approval from like the priests of.
Yeah.
And the problem is the politics behind it because. Everyone loves the Queen because she's so pure and so godly, and she's like sticks to her faith. And she actually, what's funny is that she reminds me, like in the facial structure, of Robin. She looks like a Spanish Robin
Okay.
because she's from Spain. She was like the princess of
Okay.
Spain or whatever, and he marries her. But if Robin was Hispanic, she would look
Nice.
like this woman.
Nice.
And she's a really good character, and you're really rooting for her. But as far as that goes, I mean, that's the main premise that they're kind of focusing on right now is getting this divorce to happen. And King Henry VIII is a very temperamental king,
As kings are.
as
normally.
Yeah.
as they tend to be
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
And we're not any farther in Andor, but we're gonna keep going.
Oh,
with-
so she only watched the first three.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, we
not. I
haven't-
haven't
yeah,
gotten
we
any
haven't
further
done
with
any
it. No. Yeah.
Man, once we actually finish it, I can't wait to do that just to see, like, if I like it more at that point, or how much Claudia likes it, or if we're just gonna fight about Andor. That'll be fun.
That would be fun.
A whole separate episode.
I
Just one
know.
episode dedicated.
I love a good fight.
Actually, yeah, we could do a whole one of just Andor fight.
Debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it whenever Ahsoka ends because it will end.
Yeah, true. Well, we
Yeah.
have to figure out what we're gonna do after that.
I know. We're already halfway there.
Yeah. You got anything?
Lioness.
Lioness. I thought you might. So did you finish it?
I did. Yep.
All right.
Finished it today. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so spoilers. Well, I don't know technically spoilers, but just warning. We might say stuff that's spoilers for Linus.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot really to
Yeah,
spoil. Like, it plays out how you think it's going to. But I thought it was a great season, though.
it was really
That was really
good.
good, yeah.
I do think that like it kind of abruptly ended.
Yeah, it did.
Like it was like all of a sudden it was like, oh, now we're gonna basically execute on everything and done.
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Yeah,
oh.
like right up to the last
Yeah.
couple minutes, even. Yeah.
So that was the only thing that threw me off because I was expecting that there was maybe, going into that episode, the 8th episode, I thought I was like, oh, there's probably 10 episodes in this season,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like you said, like it was like all of a sudden it was just like bam, 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 and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, we're out, we're done, and I was like, that's the season right there. There's no more of this.
I think what they're gonna do though is, since it's technically called Special Ops Lioness, I think they'll probably do like separate, like there'll be another show, because I don't know, they might still do a season 2 of this, but then there'll be like another show called Special Ops something else. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because it's Special Ops : Lioness.
right,
So
right. But that also means they can also change up the character. Like they could use a different lead.
Yeah.
That's the actual Lioness operative. They could do all kind of get creative with it. But it was really good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Definitely recommend above average.
Above average. That's it, just above average.
Well, just like it's definitely yeah. I mean, it was good. It was good. Yeah.
I think would I say yeah. I think I said this last time. I think it's his best show that he's done.
Yeah. That got
Do you think so?
Little argument over
Oh yeah, because of Yellowstone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
but and I have never seen anything else he's done. So TV wise, so
okay.
I can't weigh in on that. I like this, but I guess I have to watch Yellowstone.
I think you should. I think it's a show you'd really like to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
will say though, Western is definitely not my cup of tea.
Oh, me neither.
So
I can assure you.
that's one of the reasons why I never.
Sure, I understand, but it's definitely not my typical genre either. I will tell you that. Like, I've never been interested in watching Western movies or shows or anything. It's not my cup of tea, but I started it, gave it a chance, and it's amazing show. I will say, compared to Lioness, it's a lot more dramatic with some of the events that take place. There's a lot of moving parts, politics, family drama sort of thing.
Okay.
And I kind of love that in a show. So
I
that's
don't-
probably why it appeals to me a
I don't
little
shy
bit.
away from that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So,
We've established Josh's love for teen dramas.
oh yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah. I was gonna say, I watched 13 Reasons Why, but that was the other podcast.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah. Well, no, other season. There was other seasons, I think.
Yeah.
I watched all of season 1.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Season 1 was
Good.
good.
It was.
The second season, it was like
I think I
I don't think I
started.
finished
I think
it.
I
I think
started.
I
it.
might have started the
I
third
started
season. I can't remember if I made it to
Oh,
the
I don't
end
even
or
know
not.
if I finished second season. There was a third
It was.
season.
I think so, because I think that's when I was like, I watched like the first episode. I was like, no, because
Mm.
it was the second season was hard to push through.
It was.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know if I finished the second.
But if I remember correctly, the third season, as soon as I started, I was like, nope, definitely not.
It fell off.
It fell off hard.
Hard.
Because I mean, the original season is really the actual
The premise was a one season premise, and then
It was.
and they tried
100%.
because it did so well. They tried
Yeah.
too hard.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Know your limits. Know when to stop. A good thing can be good for one season,
Yes.
and we can appreciate it as one season.
It's okay. It's okay to
It's
stop.
okay.
It's okay
Yes.
for things to finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That happens too much in TV,
It's better
especially.
to remember it as a really
Right.
good season than just to keep pumping
Yeah.
out crap,
That's one of the, I think the benefits of movies tend to not, because they have to end it, and most of the time there's not a plan to do a second. Now, sometimes it does really well, then they try to force the second, but I think it doesn't happen as often as
No, definitely not.
TV tends to let things run out too long.
But then you can also then just, if they do make a sequel to something that you love and it's bad, you can just more like divorce yourself from it and be like, oh yeah, no, it's only this one. And that's where it ends. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And just disregard the sequel. That's what I do with Terminator. T1 and 2, and that's it.
That's a good example, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might do that with some Star Wars movies.
Oh,
I mean, when I think about like the sequels, I think about like, does anyone remember Cinderella 2, 3?
All the animated ones,
like right or what is it?
Lion King.
Isn't there one?
yeah, Lion King.
Lion King
even,
2.5.
2.5 is amazing.
2.5 was a masterpiece.
It is fantastic.
Excuse
Really?
you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Or no, it's 1.5 because 2 is the bad one.
Okay.
I think it is
they made
1.5.
two.
It's 1.5. It's
Yeah.
not
They made
2.5.
2, and then they went and made 1.5 after.
Yeah, it's because
Wow.
it's like it's from they're like watching it in a cinema, and it's
Yes.
Timon and Pumbaa, and they're like talking about it as it's happening. It's so good.
It's like that.
I really don't know that I've ever seen it.
I've watched
I
it, like,
just said
6
that because I
times.
knew that it exists. It's like the audacity of calling it like 1.5.
Well, it's because it's basically the original movie, but Timon and Pumbaa's perspective the entire
They
time.
have their commentary.
it's like-
Oh, that's a cool
and
idea.
they're
Yeah.
watching it from a movie theater, and they're like eating
nice.
popcorn
That-
bugs and different
Yeah.
things.
that probably
it's
is good.
so good.
It is very
probably
good.
hilarious.
Oh, it is
It is.
hilarious.
It's like
The second movie sucks.
What's the show they used to do that? Like that was a
Mystery Science
Yeah,
Theater?
yeah.
It's exactly what I was trying to. I was like, what is the
Nice.
name of that show?
Yeah.
It's exactly like that. Yes.
Right. But the second movie's terrible. That, like,
Mm.
but yeah, any of the original like Disney
The straight
or Pixar, like
straight to DVD.
most of the second, right? Most
what
of
they
the
were,
second movie, third movie, like no one even knows they exist because they're so bad.
I think the best show that did that ended, didn't go too long, ended, and they've never been like, yeah, we're going to do more, is Mad Men. It was like the perfect length. There was still a decent amount of episodes, but it never felt like too much, and they ended it. And that's been off the air for, what, at least 10 years? Probably more than that now. And they have never said, like, yeah, we're going to do more.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, like, that kind of thing. They need to do more of that in TV.
Definitely in my top 5 of all-time shows.
Same.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. So we're going to discuss Ahsoka episode 4. All right. The title of this episode is Fallen Jedi, directed by Peter Ramsey and written by Dave Filoni. So overall thoughts with no spoilers.
Goosebumps.
All right. Just watch the trailer for Goosebumps.
Oh, yeah. I saw. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's all I could think of when you said that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I was anticipating something big happening in this one.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
Best episode
Disagree.
so far. Okay.
Wait. You don't think it's the best episode so far? Okay. Yeah, I think it is the best episode so far.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if I was gonna say I disagree. I don't think it is the best episode either.
Oh, all right. Half
really?
and half.
All
Sweet.
right.
I thought I was about to be standing
This
on
is gonna
my
be
own
good.
2 feet here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I thought it was good, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Wasn't the worst episode.
I also thought it felt short, just like episode 3. Like it
Mhm.
was like not much really happened. It was very very small.
I
jump in
wish that
storyline.
these were longer.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, the last few episodes are probably a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is already halfway
Halfway
through. And yeah, you're right. It's
But
not.
We don't
gone
know if
ahead
it's
to-
halfway through from a time standpoint.
Yeah.
Because those
Sure.
first 2 episodes were really long, and then these 2 have been like 30 minutes,
Mhm.
and not really long. The other ones were like
Longer,
40-ish, 45. Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was almost 50. Like,
The one of them,
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah. And then these 2 were both around 30 minutes, and you definitely feel it. It feels just short.
And you kind of anticipate that when you're watching it too, because as the story progresses in the one episode you're watching, you're like, has to be already halfway through. Like, what's going to happen? Like, each scene is very short because they have to get the story in 30 minutes. And it's like, ugh, I wish we could just dwell on this a little bit more.
All right.
it's hard to say a lot.
Yeah,
Spoiler free.
I know.
I know.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can do.
That's why I was
Yeah.
like, all right, well, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So,
Spoilers coming.
yeah. So we'll just kind of general flow of things. So we open with them trying to fix the ship, and then blah blah blah, and then Ahsoka and Sabine decide they're gonna go find the bad guys instead of waiting for them to come to them, right?
Mhm.
So then we have our first like real scene, which is when they confront the what was the guy's name? Merrick, and then yeah, I was trying to remember.
And Shin.
And Shen, yes.
Mhm.
So what do you guys think of that part? That
Oh, my theory's out the window.
Yeah.
No, that's what I was gonna. I was like,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
how's your theory?
It
feel?
deflated
No.
just like he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Missed opportunity.
So first, I mean, some cool fight scenes.
I loved that Hu Yang got to get a little action.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And he was holding his own there. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen droids fight like this,
like
that.
martial arts
Yeah,
fight
yeah, they were
sort
like-
of thing. Yeah, it was very cool.
I have Clone Wars, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of droids that are like crazy. That you don't even think. I mean, commando droids.
Yeah. Well, I guess
They're crazy.
what's his name? What's the
General Grievous.
General Grievous?
Yeah, I
he's
guess
kinda-
yeah,
he's
technically
kinda
it would be.
He's kind of like
He literally a cyborg. He's not
With
just a
asthma?
droid.
With asthma.
With asthma.
Yeah. Just his heart is just exposed,
yeah, it's
just
it's
chilling
just
there.
how you can see it.
Yeah.
He can't breathe.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yeah, so cool fight scene between Ahsoka and what's his name? Merrick.
Yes.
I think it definitely is the best fight scenes. Or do you guys disagree? I think this is the best of the show so far.
Yeah, it showed Ahsoka's knowledge of stances, as we
Yeah.
were talking about last week,
Yeah.
because she only drew one saber, and then she actually changed stances a few times.
With
Mid-fight.
Balin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
With Balin, yeah. But no, she didn't change stances during her fight with Marok, but
No, I don't think
but she
so.
did only do the one stance
saber,
with
yeah.
one saber.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Which is cool.
impressive because he's got the 2 blade thing going on, and she just has pure skill going into it. And I like how the fight scenes. It seemed like, I mean, they were really clean. It was like light work in the first, especially the first couple. Like when they come to the ship initially, it was very easy combat for like her and Sabine to get through.
Yeah, which just makes my point for the first episode even stronger.
Yeah,
It's like
Oh yeah.
you can't do both. You gotta.
yeah.
And something that Claudia pointed out, like, that I'm glad we're finally seeing more of is actually force powers.
Use. Yes,
Mhm.
I was very
Because there
happy
wasn't
to
as
see
much
that.
of that before.
And yet we didn't when one of the most important moments in the episode came
yeah.
into play.
I
but-
was like,
yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool to see Sabine that like she felt confident enough to take on Shin,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and like, you know, not that she didn't, because she did before, like she just got stabbed, but like to just be like, all right, no, I'm back at this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not gonna back down. Of course, she is a Mandalorian, but but yeah, they were both cool scenes, and then it was nice when she was like, no, I got this, go, like that kind of showed like, yeah, I've got your back kind of thing. But yeah. So what was that guy? Like he just disintegrated into like a
I know. Was he just like
The way it was that green, same, so it's Night Sister magic. So basically he was
Okay.
like a reanimated spirit. I don't know. Because you see it, it's like the same
that's what
kind
I'm
of
saying, it
green.
felt like a spirit, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like he
That's
was,
all it was.
and he was kind of like in the shell suit sort of thing, inhabiting this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, kind of like how Darth Vader's suit keeps him alive.
Okay. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
actually,
Kinda like
I
that.
I think in the one game, Jedi Fallen Order, when you go to Dothamir, which is where they're from, you do see. Now I'm thinking about, you do see corpses get reanimated, and they kind of have that same type of thing. But that's more an actual corpse. This is more of like it looked like a spirit, right? There was no
Mhm.
actual
Right.
body; it just kind of went out. But same idea. I'm guessing like
Right.
Morgan Elsbeth, I guess, created this thing. I don't know, or
Yeah,
someone else.
probably.
yeah. Okay.
Because then once you start thinking about it, once you've seen that, like there was multiple moments where you didn't really, like Balin didn't talk to whatever Marek the same way. Like there just wasn't much communication. He just kind of like gave an order and it was received. Like whereas like him and Shin actually have like a relationship.
Like dialogue.
Hmm.
Yeah. When Ahsoka and Sabine have the conversation of, if it comes down to it and we need to destroy this map, can I count on you? And she says, you know you can. As soon as that happens, I'm like, something's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Something's going to happen and I'm not going to be happy about it. I already know.
Yeah. So then Ahsoka runs off and she gets to the map and confronts Balin,
Hmm.
and they start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we think of that?
Yeah, this is where she changed up a few different stances, and she actually, once again, didn't use both of her blades, her sabers.
Yeah.
Been talking about swords a lot lately, so.
Yeah, I really
was-
like that.
it was cool to see, yeah.
I kind of figured, so I was kind of expecting, well, okay, so she beat the other guy real easily, right?
Mhm.
So then you're like, okay, so she's not. They're not gonna let her beat two people. Some of the main bad guys like that. So, so I figured she was gonna like lose to him some way. But then also, I was like, plus like, he's kind of cool. Like I really liked, like even the way he was like, didn't want to necessarily fight, right? Like he was kind of just like, and then he was of course doing the mind game kind of thing that the Sith always do, right? Like it kind of plays to their, even though he's not really a Sith, but he kind of in that same thing of like, what your master you left you or whatever, like he was like trying to play the mind games, which he does to Sabine right later.
Persuasion.
So, but yeah, it was just interesting to see he kind of, I don't know, like his attitude or whatever about things.
I think this was his best episode, Balin.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see. It was like Ahsoka's first moment, like because when he says that, it actually pushes a button. It was her first moment of not being like constantly in control of her emotions. She actually like it felt something when he said the stuff about Anakin. She snaps back.
Oh yeah.
Well, like he's like, I've heard so much about you from your, and she's like, that's funny. I've never.
He's
heard
never
of you.
mentioned you. Yeah.
It's like the classic line.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah. So obviously they're fighting, blah blah blah, and then she gets at least enough upper hand to try to grab the map. So this is where
Again, why?
Why?
Why did she need to grab it?
Yeah.
From the very beginning, she could have at least pulled it off of the podium with the
Right.
Force.
And then she didn't use the Force at all, and he did. Like he threw the rocket at her, and I was like, yeah, like the whole time, like, why? What is she doing? Like, that's what it felt like.
Well, didn't she? Didn't she use the Force on Shin?
She did
To knock her away?
but afterward, like after all that had
afterwards.
happened.
Okay. Yeah.
The only time she did use the Force was, how like you'd see like possibly like a samurai or something in like a show, like have the sword and then like hold it with his, like she did that, but she used the Force, and that was cool to see.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
besides that, she didn't really use the
It's almost
Force
like
because
because he's strong. He's physically stronger than
Right.
her.
Yeah.
So she was doing that to like push back and hold the yeah.
It's just weird. I don't understand why they're not using the Force the way that it's been used countless times in any show, or well, not any show, but throughout the entirety of the Clone Wars or the original series, the original saga. Like it's just.
No, you're right. Like of the live action shows,
And I wonder
they
if it's
haven't
like
used it.
right. I wonder if it's
Yeah.
like because they got so much pushback from doing weird Force stuff in the sequels, because there's some weird Force stuff that's never been done before in the
Oh, yeah.
sequels that was like very controversial, and I could talk about for a while.
Yep, me
But-
too.
Like I don't know if like that's why they're refraining from doing it, but it's just like like in the first battle, and I think I've talked about this before, but in the first battle that you see Ahsoka like as a Padawan ever, well, she's not even technically a Padawan yet. Like she uses the Force to destroy droids as not even a Padawan yet. She's just a Padawan, like she,
Right.
and then like she's now at the skill level that she is, and she's not using the Force
a
for something
master,
so
yeah.
simple, right? And it's just like why?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because you're like, why not Force thing? I think, well, just like the effect of I like the way they. I mean, it's a typical trope of a story thing, but it still worked well in this case where they created like the decoding of like where they need to go, and it kind of created that extra like tension of they kept cutting to the thing like
The
it's
counting
load-
down to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Finding
like
the
hey, we
coordinates.
loaded this
Yeah.
one and this one and yeah, that was kind of a cool gizmo whatever effect in there. I did like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Well, here. So I wanted to
yes,
the sphere or whatever we're talking about. I don't know if this kind of, I don't know if they would actually use this in the story, but she grabs it, and when you see her hand later, it's almost like, it made me think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's
Yeah.
almost like it could be on her hand now.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if that's going to come into play. Like maybe they can
No.
because now it's gone and she doesn't know
he
how
destroyed
to
it.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that comes into play, but I was thinking about that because you see a close up of her hand later, and you kind of can still see.
I didn't think about that. Like I did think about it. Reminding me of Raiders.
Yeah.
But like, but I did as he's destroying it. I'm like, well, I guess they're gonna find another way because like obviously they're not gonna not follow them. Like it's
Sure.
not So it's.
I mean, I briefly, very briefly thought about that, but it's like, I don't know. It's like the way the map worked is it displayed information. It wasn't on the orb itself,
Right.
and so it's like, is that going to do anything? So I briefly thought about it, but then I was like, no, probably not.
Yeah, it might not be enough to even really.
But Hera was facing the exact direction that they went, and I thought maybe that she like possibly was able to chart that. But then they also said if the calculations were off by even a little bit, that they would end up in the void. So I really don't know.
Yeah, so there's
then
really
what I was thinking about was they talked about Hu Yang talked about the space whales and how they migrate.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe they were gonna learn more about that, and because that has significance between Ezra and Sabine and everything. And I thought maybe that's how, because how else would Ezra have found out how to do it? See, that's more where I was thinking is like they were gonna do something with the whales, not the burn,
not with the actual. No, that would make more sense.
But then also, I mean, Ahsoka's dealing with something right now, and maybe that'll come into fruition of something.
Let's finish up the stuff, and then we'll get into that, right? So then,
I got a couple more things.
That's why I like held off.
I got a couple more things before we get to the ending. But
Well, do you want to cover?
It has to do with Baylan and Ahsoka's fight.
Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry. Actually, afterwards when he's with Sabine.
Okay. Well, I mean, we might be done with the fight. Are we done? I mean, like other than he ends up sending her over the cliff.
Which, So
which
when
is another thing, it's kind of weird with the
that part is weird.
Force, like
I was
it's
thinking.
like
That's what I was thinking about the most was.
I was wondering if like somehow she got damaged in the hand or something. Like why was it causing her so much distress?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah,
like,
and why she wasn't like force flipping like herself over him and landing on the other side. Like it's.
Yeah, that's the thing in live. Yeah, a lot of the stuff like Lucas mentioned and that they do in the animated, a lot more of that like kind of stuff you see actually in the prequels more.
Well, that's what I say.
Yeah, you don't really see that, and I don't know why they don't do that. Yeah.
Ahsoka had the most emotion in this episode that she's had in all of the episodes, though, because first, like the pain she was exhibiting from touching the sphere, and then when Shin comes back from the woods without Sabine, and she just automatically thinks something happened to Sabine, you can see it in her face that she's distressed. She's like, oh no, like she's assuming the worst, essentially. And she did that pretty well, also kind of portraying that emotion.
Yeah.
While still trying to take control of the situation that's happening.
And then she throws her against the rock and kind of knocks her out.
A little bit out of anger.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So when Baylan this is why I think one of the reasons why I think this is the best episode of Baylan, because you actually get to see it a little bit in the very opening of the first episode, right, when he takes out all of them on the ship. But this even more so, I think you see how powerful he is, because so when he's actually deflecting Sabine's shots, he actually is moving. I know he actually is moving his lightsaber in the directions almost before even. So like he is actually predicting, like he knows where the shots are coming from. Like he's not just deflecting it. So he actually, that's how I guess strong he is in the Force. I don't know, but like it was cool to see that, like how powerful he is.
Yeah. Well, Baylan is actually a fallen Jedi.
Yeah.
Shin, I don't think so much. I think she either he trained her himself or she was a Padawan that survived, and he decided to train her.
Is she old enough though to be? Because she doesn't look that old.
Right. He probably just trained her.
Right. So that's why.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant one that survived from Order 66, because he did. But you're mentioning afterwards.
If she did, she would have been amongst the really younglings, the ones
Yeah.
that are still just learning the concept of the Force and everything. Like they haven't gone through any training really.
Yeah.
And that would be the only reason why I think she would possibly survive that, but I don't think so. I think she was trained directly under Balin.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. The only other thing I have is to go back to Ahsoka killing Merrick, is her overhead samurai strike was so sick,
Mm-hmm.
and it made me think of a Ghost of Tsushima move.
it
Did
did,
you think about that
'cause-
immediately?
Yes, because then it was making me think about it even more because later when she was doing the stance change, she like switched to like the,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, I do that.
Yeah.
And
I do
But
that.
dude, it was so sick how, so she just like held it like that,
Yep.
you know, above, and that, there's a lot of, we mentioned a couple different samurai things. There's a lot of samurai in this
Oh, yeah.
whole show,
For
which
sure.
is
Oh
cool.
my goodness, yeah.
but yeah, no,
Which is
Ghost of
The
Tsushima.
original
If you haven't played it, play it.
influence for George Lucas for the
Oh yeah, that's true.
like old samurai movies.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'd be good to use that for inspiration, even in new stuff. Yeah. So then goes off the cliff, and Sabine has the map, right?
Sabine folded.
And then she gives it to Balin.
Folded.
Yeah. So so he played the mind games again, but this time.
But I loved him.
Mhm.
Ugh.
So was
I
it
was
a
like,
romantic
you're so
thing?
pathetic
Was
watching
it a
this.
romantic? Because like again, I never watched Rebels. Was it like a romantic thing?
I don't.
With Ezra and Sabine.
Yeah, like just like very.
I think it was
very
more-
minimally, right?
I thought it was more just one way, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think, I don't know.
Like her towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, but like you get a few like from what I remember, there's a few like little like they hint towards maybe Ezra's thought about it, but like he's trained to be a Jedi. He's no emotional attachment.
Yep.
Doesn't, because at that point in time he's only learned Jedi stuff from what's his name,
Kanan.
Kanan, and he actually was a Jedi.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also, I think this episode had I don't know if you guys agree or not. I think this episode had the best visuals of the 4 episodes.
Definitely all the shots of the fighting stuff was really really cool. Yeah. Yeah.
But even out in the fleet too, I think that was some of the best too so far, just visually.
I don't
Yeah.
know. The episode with the Purgle
Yeah. The dog fighting
is pretty
in last.
pretty up there
Oh,
for
that's
me.
true. Yeah, that's
It's
true.
very good.
And just the
Yeah.
dog fighting
Visuals
stuff
and
in last
yeah.
last
Yeah,
week's
you're right.
episode I
Yeah.
really liked. But yeah. So speaking of the space stuff, so Hera I love when she just leaves
Yeah.
regardless.
Yep.
And
Need
then
authorization.
what's his name from Convenience is there.
Yep, I love that.
Oh, yeah,
He's
that
like,
guy
I
was
was like,
awesome.
He's like in every
Show
show
yeah.
now.
he's great.
He's awesome.
He's so good.
And I just love because he speaks perfectly good English.
And when I like where I know him best is Kim's Convenience, and
He's such a broken.
Yep.
Yeah. But I love the line when she's like, "Well, once a rebel, always a rebel," right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny she brought her son. Like that was kind of
I know. It was
like
Jason? Jason's her co-pilot.
Gotta teach him
Jason and
young.
Chopper.
it's such a weird
Mhm.
because it's such a normal name and everyone in
I
Star
know.
Wars.
It is
has
weird.
normal names.
Oh, you
It's
mean
probably
Jason?
spelled like really weird though,
Yeah.
like in a
Greg.
Star Wars way.
Brian.
Yeah.
It's probably like
Greg?
yeah, Greg. Yeah.
It's actually Gregorius, but
Yeah.
Gregorius is his name. Yeah.
but I go by Greg.
But yeah, so obviously they rush to the rescue, try to.
The Eye of Sion.
The Eye of Sion, yep. And yeah, so it was still cool to see the X-wings in formation with her. But then yeah, the Eye of Sion gets ready to take off because they got all the stuff they need, and
Mm-hmm.
they get trapped. Which was I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. And then sure enough, it wasn't.
Right,
Right,
of course.
right. But I was like, I don't think we've ever seen that happen. Where
Clone Wars.
Was that also in Clone Wars? Because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, this is really cool the way they. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
in live action, we've
Not
never
in
seen
live-
this
yeah.
happen.
Mhm.
Where
Yeah, it was
someone gets
they-
caught in like the warp takeoff.
I forget who it was and what, but I think it was Anakin and Ahsoka that were the ones that got stuck doing that, and like Anakin like turns the ship so it gets missed just enough so that none of the building actually, or none of the ship actually makes contact, and instead it just goes through, but they lose power and everything because of
So, just a side note, they do this in Foundation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same. They're like,
Awesome,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Someone jumps and like mid like while it's next to something.
That's awesome.
So it literally saw the same thing happen like a couple weeks ago.
But in Clone Wars, we've also seen them jump ship straight through another ship, like intentionally, and it like tears it open.
That's crazy.
I've always wondered about that.
Didn't they? That's what they did in
Rogue One.
The Last Jedi.
No, Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. They did that in
They
Last
did
The
Jedi.
Holdo maneuver is what they called it. That was probably the coolest part of that movie. Was that shot and then everything.
Going silent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lack of sound.
There wasn't a lot of cool things in that movie.
Whatever.
I would say, I'm gonna say it right now, just to throw it out there.
Oh boy.
The sequels, the 3 movies in general, standalone. Forget the entire Star Wars universe ever.
Okay.
Great concept for movies. They're good. I think they're not great movies, but they're good. They're a cool concept. You'd be like, oh, this is cool stuff that's going on, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, you mean
But
as-
if you have seen
Okay.
anything other than the sequels, before you watch the sequels, you're like, what am I watching? And you have to feel that way. They're like, there's...
I would agree with you on 1 and 2, or
7 and 8, yeah.
7 and 8, yeah. But 9, I disagree. 9, I think even standalone is not a good movie.
It is.
Well,
it's just all over the place.
It's the
I
basic
think cool stuff.
Okay. Oh,
Like the Force stuff and all that, but like you
Yeah.
disagree with all the Force things that they do and the way they
Mhm.
use the ships and different stuff because you've seen other Star Wars stuff. But if you hadn't before, you'd still think it's a cool concept.
okay.
Yeah, on its own, yeah. It
I'd
would
be like, oh,
be
this is
cool.
interesting stuff here. This movie's terribly paced and written, but
9, yeah, definitely,
Yes.
yeah.
Nine's an awful movie in general.
It sucks though because there's still some really cool scenes, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's
but anyway,
and 7 is just A New Hope again.
Again,
yes, true. Yeah. So they're off to the whatever to go get what's his name? Thrawn. Yeah.
Ron.
They have Sabine with them, right?
Yes.
And then we get a really cool. What?
Just Sabine.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
I mean, Jared was, wow.
How long
so
does
much
she
for
hold,
you. No,
hold,
you can
hold
count
the
on
gun
me.
right at it, like, and you're like, she's gonna give in because
Yeah.
like,
I was hoping there was gonna be like a quick moment where maybe she like put
I
her
was
gun down and grabbed the
hoping.
lightsaber instead,
Had something else maybe going
prepared
on.
to fight afterwards. No.
No.
I kept thinking the whole time too, like, even if I feel like, because to his point earlier, like anticipating the gunshots, like, I feel like he would have just then like
Mhm.
with
No,
the Force.
I
if
also
she
thought
actually
maybe
tried to
she'd
do
like
something.
try and take it and like throw it in the ocean or something so they could find
I
it later.
thought about
But I
that
was like,
too.
but then Balin's just gonna be like
Mhm.
and grab it.
Mhm.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, she just
Fold
gives it to him
Yeah.
And then he destroys it
right after.
after they
after they
get
get
the
what they
rest of the
need,
information.
sure.
Then he destroys it.
Ugh.
But no, so I was gonna say is like the shot of the ocean transitioning into
oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Dude.
really,
Was
really awesome.
amazing.
That was so cool.
We were geeking about
Yeah.
that watching it yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool shot.
Very good.
Man, yeah.
So then, Ahsoka is in some kind of.
The world between worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Confirmed? How do we
Yep,
know? How do we know?
confirmed.
How do we know? Confirmed.
Oh, and that's what it looks like in Rebels.
Oh, okay. Something that was in Rebels. Okay. I'm like, I thought you were just guessing. at something.
Nudity?
I wasn't gonna go into the actually.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just.
Oh yeah, you know it
Just
is.
asking.
It is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Anakin's there.
You hear his
Yeah.
voice
Yeah, so you hear his voice.
faintly, and I was like,
Yeah, you knew immediately.
oh my gosh.
Well, I knew that was when Anakin was gonna show up before
Yeah.
he even said anything. But yeah,
Yeah, but yes.
you hear him and you're like, okay,
It still made
nice.
it. I was still so excited. I mean, even if I was like hitting Jared in the arm. I was like, you know.
I like that
So
the
what-
first words were "Hello, Snips."
Yeah,
Mhm.
listeners, yeah.
Yep.
I
That was
knew
awesome.
that was from the Clone Wars because that at least what I remember watching. Because I watched some of the first season of.
I thought you just watched the movie with me.
I think I watched some of the first
Oh,
season.
okay.
But
Now we just need to hear her say to him,
Sky guy.
yeah.
so what is so explain a little bit what this would you say world between worlds? Is that what you call it? What is that?
It's I don't know a lot about it, so it's kind of
You don't know much about it.
Okay.
Is
Well,
it
you
kind
said
of
it
like
was
a
in Rebels.
limbo place?
A rainbow?
so
Limbo.
no. So
Like-
it's basically what the name is. Like so it's somewhere out of space and time. It's where this isn't confirmed, but I'm assuming this is kind of where some, if not all, of the Force ghosts reside. And apparently, I think so. One thing I did, because I looked this up a little bit, I think you can see into different timelines or things that take place.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Like not you. I don't think you can change or affect
Mhm.
it, but you can actually
can
like
see it.
peer into. So that's what's really exciting is if they do any of that in the next episode, that would be so cool.
So you can let's say visit other times almost like you can see them, you just can't affect them.
Yeah, you'll see it like it's like a little
Can
pocket
you
thing.
travel
coming-
to another world? If it's a world
from
between
there.
worlds?
I don't know.
Okay, because isn't that where they went? The other
They went to another galaxy.
galaxy.
But I think
What's the difference between a world and a galaxy?
Well, I think-
in this term, like
Thrawn and Ezra at the end of Rebels, isn't that where they were at one point? Was in the
think
world
so.
between worlds, and then
that's how
they
they
got-
ended up over there.
I think so.
So-
I don't know. I didn't see the ending of
Neither
Rebels.
did I.
So then that might be the way she gets
Maybe.
yeah. Okay.
Sabine's already going there, but then that would just mean that Yang,
And
And Hera are back at the-
left behind.
yeah. But I'm sure there's gonna be other crap they have to deal with. So,
Yeah.
well, something I thought was cool was the soundtrack they played.
Yes,
Yeah.
It was sick.
Yeah.
But Jared, did you notice
the Vader
at
theme.
the very end it switched to the Vader theme?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful transition too.
Yes, it was.
I think all the music in this one was really good.
Yeah.
noticed
I
a
figured
couple
you'd
of-
notice.
I-
Oh yeah.
But definitely a couple times where I was like, the score's coming through, but in a good way. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
some of those action scenes.
He does. Yeah, the guy. Yeah, I was mentioning because he did all the animated shows. He does a lot of, specifically with the flute stuff that you would hear a lot with John Williams in the originals. He did it actually, especially in this episode, but he would use that a lot. He kind of does even some similar, what's the word, phrases that John Williams does. Very similar. Lots of triplets and some really cool stuff in here. I think he's one of the closest to at least being able to get that John Williams feel. Like no one's going to be able to do it exactly.
Yeah, but I agree with you.
yeah.
Like, it sounds the closest to the original
Mhm.
stuff that John Williams did. Yeah, it was good. It's good music. And that, I noticed that too. That was like,
Yeah,
I
it was cool.
I was like,
I was, and so, but then it almost begs the question, like, what's he doing there?
well, and also,
Mhm.
what state is he in?
So it's Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
Anakin. The way, like he has the, so you see he has, so his outfit, he has the one glove on.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it's Revenge of the Sith, but I don't know why that would be.
Well, that's also his Clone Wars outfit. So like,
Oh, is it?
over the course of the entirety of like the Clone Wars, so
Okay.
like the time he would have spent with Ahsoka, but that's what leads into Revenge of the Sith.
Because the Clone Wars is in between Attack of
Right.
the Clones and
Yep.
Revenge of the Sith. So yes, that would make sense. Yeah, that makes more sense then, because it'd be with
Right.
the Clone Wars period.
But they played the Vader theme music, so then you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, well,
when
he's-
and
obviously he was already dancing with that. Right?
well, yeah, through the entirety of the Clone Wars, you see moments where he definitely dips into the dark side, and it's the farther you get, the more often and the more severe they become. And like Ahsoka even confronts him about it a few times, and he just kind of like says, "You don't know anything," kind of like he kind of just brushes it off. But there's a few times where he does like towards the end he does like he uses force choke on like scum basically, because he's like upset with them, but because he's upset, he's he's a little angry, and he like force chokes him, like Ahsoka, like she's like, what are you doing, kind of thing, and he just doesn't care. He's like these guys are scum, blah, 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 and he's like just and
Well, killed all those people and
Yeah, he did.
yeah.
One of the
what?
That was
Oh, you're talking about
Movie.
okay, you're
yeah,
talking
in the
about
movie,
that.
yeah,
You're talking about his mom's captors.
yes.
yeah.
The same.
Well, and then later, all the younglings.
Well,
too.
I mean,
Yeah, but that's much later.
yeah. No, I was saying now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the way he, I don't know, projects himself to Ahsoka is how she would best recognize him,
possibly.
and maybe that's why he looks like that when she gets there.
So, because then otherwise, because if it's the Force Ghost version of him, that would be after Return of the Jedi
Yeah.
version, right?
Right.
When he-
Well, yeah, but we see in Return of the Jedi, like when we see him as a Force Ghost, which is all edited in afterwards, but
Mhm.
he's not Vader. He switched to the
Right.
light side right before he actually
Right,
died.
yeah.
So, and yeah, maybe it's just that he's being projected at how Ahsoka would remember him by. Maybe that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just guessing. Since she, because that's another thing. I don't know if she's ever been in this place before.
Right.
Right.
So if she
Yeah.
hasn't, then that would make sense that if he could change his appearance to however like she would best recognize him,
Mhm.
I guess that would make sense.
Either way, I'm super excited to see what
Yeah.
happens with it.
I know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's not Vader, but we heard the Vader music. So, and there's been plenty of Force tests where like different Jedi have gone through, like you have to fight yourself basically, and it's in your mind, and you can be seeing your darkest fears or whatever. And so it could just be Anakin turning into Darth Vader, and like she's like in this limbo where she has to overcome this trial, and not specifically that it's going to be helpful.
That's a good point. Yeah, it could just be a test or
I'm
trial.
trying
Yeah.
to think of
It's like Luke when he saw Vader in the cave.
Yeah.
And then it's like his
Mhm.
face in there, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. In
Yeah, yeah.
Empire, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it could be something like that.
Yeah.
How do
Cool.
we feel about the way he looks?
I think he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Pleasing
he
to
looked
the
good.
eyes over there.
Yeah, no, he looked good. Yeah. He didn't look like dumb, like,
Because there was
like in the face area.
yeah, because I remember a while back when they were still filming this, like I read an article saying like Hayden filmed some scenes, so like we knew he was going to be in it at some point. So it was actually him, and it looked like just because obviously he looks older now, but he doesn't look that much older. So I guess they just de-aged him a little bit
Yeah.
down to
That's
that.
what it looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't look
Yeah.
like too much or look like a full like I don't know. At least to me.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it seemed fun, but I also, again, yeah, it didn't seem off to me.
No.
Mhm.
Next episode will be the real test because I
Yeah.
imagine he'd be in it a
Yeah,
lot more. Yeah. So
we
we'll
might-
see
yeah.
how it'll be.
Yeah, it was
Then.
so quick and short, and I didn't pause it or anything. So.
No, neither did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, any other thoughts on this episode?
Well, do we want to revisit why you guys think it's the best episode, and why we disagree?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, here let me just mention because
Yeah.
that might take a while. We might
You go ahead.
get
yeah,
all
yeah.
that. But so I looked up because I just saw this article actually I think today. The next episode is the only other episode that Dave Filoni is directing, and I just read an article saying that they're putting it in select theaters.
Oh, I did. I
That's
got
so
an
cool.
ad for that.
Interesting.
I got an ad.
So
Or no,
it's
not
gotta
ad,
be
it
a
was-
big deal. This
It was
next
on
one.
the Star Wars Instagram account. They
Oh really?
They had that as like a thing, and I was
It's
like,
crazy. So this one's got to be like
yeah,
one
it's
of the
probably
biggest
when
of the
Thrawn
whole-
is like we probably see Thrawn because if the
Fair.
and a lot of Anakin. So it's
yeah,
yeah.
Big deal.
and then maybe it's another 40 to 50-minute episode instead of 30.
yeah,
I hope.
I hope so.
Maybe
If-
this is the
if-
longest. That's why they're putting it in theaters. But
maybe it's like a full hour.
another thing, which I don't think they're gonna do, which sucks, but I just want Luke to show up in this because why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
You know
Sure.
what I mean? This is like the next biggest threat.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
This is true.
Why would he just be chilling at this point?
Yeah. I mean, they've brought him into Mandalorian, so
Yeah.
why
That
not?
would be insane.
And that actually, because we were talking about not seeing enough of the, like, them actually using the Force in these live actions. Disregarding season 2 ending of Mandalorian, where the best scene ever with Luke, because he does a lot of
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
that's the best of
Yeah.
the live action for
Yeah.
sure.
They did a great job with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he takes out the whole
dude.
yeah.
I watched that scene so many times, just in general.
Takes out the whole ship of people.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's what it
why
was.
did you guys think it was the best episode so far?
I mean, I just really liked the combat that happened in this. There was always an exciting part for me, and I like exciting things. If I'm watching something, I want to be engaged like the whole time. So that's a big part of it. Of course, the ending was a huge deal for me too. I was really excited, and I thought he would, but it still didn't like make it that like less exciting, you know. And the dialogue too between there were some parts like I was just like obviously like upset me, like the part with Sabine and parts. There's a lot of parts when you're watching this show where you're like, you could use the Force there, you could use the Force there, you could use the Force there, and that particular part as a whole of the show so far obviously is a bummer. But I just liked it because I just thought it was exciting from start to finish.
It is, yeah, and I think even though there's some stuff that happens in the other ones, I still think, and I guess you guys kind of disagree with this, I think this still moved the plot ahead the most, even though none of them really have actually so far have moved forward too much. But I think it did the most. Obviously, I mentioned, I think it's the best fight scenes. Obviously, I'm biased. I mean, if I see Anakin, that's going to also be like, I'm going to like it more just because of that. But also, so I think this is the best of Balin as well. Not the best of Shin, because you don't actually... does she get any dialogue in this? Actually, I don't think she talks at all in this
She
episode.
does.
She had a few words.
She had a few words.
Okay.
Like when she's fighting Sabine in the forest, she says some things.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me think. What else? Yeah, well, actually, also with,
I like how we kind of get a look into Balin a little bit more too. Like he has a lot more of a speaking part in this episode, so you kind of can pick his brain the way he's talking about things.
I do agree it's his strongest episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I agree with all the stuff you guys are saying, but from an actual like story structure and all of those, like I couldn't confidently say it's the best episode.
Which one do you think is the best?
It's either episode 2 or 3, and I'm not 100% sure which one. They both have strong suits.
Yeah, I was leaning towards 3.
I'm leaning, yeah.
Even though it was the shortest one.
yeah, I think 2 is probably the worst of the 4. I would say. So probably
For story, or for
just
enjoyment?
overall.
I'll say okay. So if we're looking at overall, 3 is definitely the best.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 and 4.
Four is close then. But it, like, yes, there's moments that are like I would like be like, oh yeah, that's super cool. That's I really enjoyed that, and different things especially from episode 4. Episode 4 I enjoyed a lot. Episode 3 had a lot of moments that I enjoyed with like the fighting and like the dog fighting and different stuff. But from an actual story standpoint, three's better. It's just the moments that happen throughout the episode and the impact that it has throughout. Like if you look at the 4 episodes as a whole, like the impact that they have and story that they tell, it has the most significance.
Which is probably why 4 is my favorite, because it just kind of everything comes to a head. Like the things that have been building up, or you see a lot of it progressing in this episode, and I like to get to the action. So that's
No,
why
I mean,
I think it's
I probably enjoyed watching this episode. It's close between 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But I probably enjoyed watching this episode the most.
that's fair.
But I wouldn't say it's the like
Overall best.
Yeah, it just isn't
It
the
didn't
best.
actually really have any arc to
No,
it.
it was just a bunch of battling. It was like anime corner. When you're watching anime, like you get to a battle, especially in like a shonen anime like One Piece, like we were talking about, like you could have like 7, 8, 9 episodes in a row of just fighting. And like that doesn't progress the story the most, but it is cool to see. And that's kind of how this episode felt to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just wasn't solid in the emotion and story. I mean, even Ahsoka being like, "Oh, about Sabine," like it wasn't the heart-wrenching feeling that you would expect.
Well, and on that note, one thing I thought was like, I mean, normally they know.
Oh yeah, you would
Like,
know from the
Jedi,
Force.
Like a Force, you would know that she's dead.
Yeah.
And so, like, she shouldn't be questioning that.
Mm-mm. But she's probably like, "Oh crap, she's hurt or something." But she knew she wasn't dead, and that's probably why she wasn't like, actually freaking out or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Respect.
No. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode, right? We got anything else? No?
I think seems like the next one's gonna be probably
A big one.
yeah.
How cool would
It's
it
gonna
be
a
if
big
one of our theaters was screening it? I mean, that would be awesome.
Probably won't be around
It
here,
won't,
but
we're
probably
outside
won't,
of
but
there.
it would
But
be
if it
awesome.
is,
we're
we're
going.
going, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
we need to check now.
I know it was sell out quick. Yeah.
because got next week's podcast to film.
Yeah, we got to watch it before next week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for watching and listening to this episode of Screen Time. Really appreciate your support. If you'd like to support us more, please rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or feedback, please email feedback@screentimepod.com. If you'd like to follow all of us on Instagram, I'm at jyoungbar.
I'm at Lucas Youngbar.
At Claudia Youngbar.
I'm at Jered Youngbar.
All right. And we'll talk to you next time.
Peace.